Hello, welcome along everybody to this session all about the BTEC in esports, a groundbreaking world-first qualification that has been developed by Pearson and by the British Esports Association, working with young people between the ages of 16 to 18. Welcome along, my name's Tom Dore, I'm the Head of Education for the British Esports Association. I'm also the Head of the Education Focus Group of the Global Esports Federation, and I think more importantly as well, I'm also still a teacher, and I've taught for the last 17 years across a full range of different schools and different colleges, from alternative provision through to sponsored academies, through to now my current school, which is a highly selective independent day school in Bath, King Edward School in Bath here in the UK, and it's one of the top 75 schools in the country. During this session, we're going to unpick what the BTEC in esports actually is, how it's been developed, and the support that teachers get in teaching it. I've got two friends and colleagues here who are going to give us more information that I'd like to bring in now, and they can introduce themselves and tell a little bit about themselves and about what they have done as part of this development. Okay, Gary, over to you.
Cheers, Tom. Thank you very much. My name is Gary Tibbett, and I'm the Education Manager at British Esports Association. My background, similar to Tom's, I'm from the education system. So I was a lecturer for four and a half years in games, animation, and visual effects. Previous to that, I was in the games industry as a visual effects artist and an animator. So esports and gaming has always been my passion. And it's great to be able to take what I love and show so many how it can be used, not just as a career, a job, but also something to engage and influence the right demographic for the right reasons. Who we are at the British Esports Association. So we're a not-for-profit body established in 2016. And what we do is we promote, inspire, and improve the esports ecosystem for grassroots and upwards in the UK. So what we do is we educate government, individuals, centres, students, parents, anybody about what esports is, but more importantly, what it can do to show and harness, I guess, the power of esports and use it as that vehicle, that hook to move forward, to educate and engage students in this education space. We're a national body, and we work with many different partners throughout the UK and the world to show how we can, again, use esports moving forward to engage students across the world. Annabel?
I think you're right. It's that piece around motivation and engagement, isn't it? That esports really can be the vehicle to motivate and engage young people and help them to develop a whole range of skills. Yes, for the esports industry, and help them to get jobs in the global esports industry, but it's also then the links to digital, to STEM, to creative that absolutely we're going to unpick during this chat. Annabel, over to you. Can you introduce us in your background and tell us a little bit about Pearson, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Tom. I'm joining this call very much from the Pearson point of view. We have been heavily involved with working with British Esports Association on our qualification for the Esports BTEC. Now, some of you on the call might not know about the BTEC qualifications. They are something that were well established for many years in the UK, and now internationally we offer them throughout subject areas. And our particular focus with BTEC and vocational education is the high quality that we want to introduce globally to schools and colleges across the world. And our workforce skills is a real focus for the BTEC qualifications. And what esports does is it brings in that new idea of new skills and new areas of employability that we need to be addressing through vocational education. So my role, going back to the question, my role as an international portfolio manager is really to support our teams across the world in introducing some of these newer subjects and some of our vocationally led educational pieces to look at what we can do as an educational organisation to upskill and review the sectors that are emerging out of new employability skills.
So you mentioned the BTECs and the different ranges. So there's 15 or 16 different subject areas as part of the BTEC?
Yeah, absolutely. There's probably even more as each day we look at sort of where the work skills are and what's driving some of the subject areas that are really in demand across from 14 all the way up, really, in terms of vocational education. So we have our very strong and traditional subject areas, which are things like business and art and design, but we're looking much more at robotics, AI, esports, and things where we can see the demand is growing massively for vocational education.
Because here in the UK, there are hundreds of thousands of students take BTECs every year in this full range of different subject areas. It's a highly recognised qualification here in the UK that attracts university admission points in the same way that all traditional academic, your typical English, math, science subjects do. So if you haven't heard it, so essentially BTEC is the brand name, isn't it? It's the brand of Pearson's vocational qualifications. So Gary, how did this esports BTEC come around then? Give us a little bit of a background to actually how we got to this point.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, so credit where credit's due. It's originally your idea, right? So Tom brought this out of a much needed, I want to say, hole in the market, but in a good way. So at college, and being an ex-lecturer myself, students come and they either know exactly what they want to do, or they're not too sure what they want to do. Now, what we try to do with the esports BTEC is use something that was watched by individuals every day, played by individuals every day, but not just the game itself. It's the wider subjects which encompass this qualification. And there was a hole in the market where students would either go and do games or sports or business, IT, and other subjects, but their passion for esports was never incorporated into them subjects because it just wasn't taught in colleges and schools. So these students and these individuals are doing everything at home, watching streams, marketing, social media with Twitter and Instagram. So what we did is we looked at 20 units across the full spectrum and we catered them towards a qualification in esports. So it allows these students who might never have gone to college, might never wanted an education past when they leave school. So for 16 to 18 now, we have a qualification in esports where students can go and learn skills, strategies, analysis, marketing, law, ethics, health and well-being, social skills, shoutcasting, video production, and a range of other units, which is absolutely incredible. And like I said at the beginning, and like me and Tom both say, esports is the hook, it's the vehicle to get these passionate individuals engaged in something that is so amazing, and then teach them transferable skills that they can take to STEM, digital, and the wider industries, just as well as the esports industries as well. So it was a great opportunity to... Sorry, yeah, go on.
No. So in the same way that if you're really into traditional sports, students have always gone down the traditional sport route, haven't they? There's been qualifications in sport or qualifications in PE, both academic and actually playing those sports. That didn't exist though, did it really? There was the games design stuff, but there wasn't anything for esports, was there?
There wasn't, no. There was nothing at a college level. And I guess just jumping back before the BTEC, we have our British Esports Championships, which allowed students to engage every Wednesday in a competition via playing online, playing by through PCs in League of Legends, Overwatch, and Rocket League. We've included Valorant this season, which is incredible for us to do. So we've got 4 titles, but every Wednesday, thousands of students at school would compete like you would in netball, tennis, basketball, football against other colleges. So that really springboarded it as well, because we already had the information and stats there to see how popular it was with this demographic, which then led and helped us build the BTEC.
So yeah, absolutely. So we had essentially we've got the competitive, and now we've got the academic essentially to go with it, exactly as you do in traditional sports or in the music or in the drama, where you've got both the practical and the academic. We now have that with the esports, and this is what we developed with the qualification, with the BTEC qualification. We wrote 6 or 7 of the 20 units from scratch, linked to specifically to esports. The skills and analysis that we've mentioned, shoutcasting, streaming, things around the ethics side of things. We wrote those units from scratch, but then sort of 2/3 of the units that make up the qualification are based around the existing qualifications that Pearson already run: the business, the marketing, social media, the sport qualifications, the coaching, the psychology, games design, and we've tweaked those to fit the esports space. It's all vocational. There's no exams. It's all based around coursework, and the coursework is then based around esports scenarios. So they're given a scenario that they have to build their project around, be it coming up with the branding, for example, for their own esports organization, having to write a strategic financial business plan for their esports organization that they then have to go and pitch for investment in a Dragon's Den sort of Shark Tank type of environment, type of setting. Or it could be about health and performance and nutrition, actually writing training programs for players and things like that. So it incorporates a huge, all aspects of the industry, plus then the explicit links that we've mentioned to STEM, to digital, to creative media skills. At the moment we have, so it's fully approved in the UK, it's fully approved by the British government, by the Department for Education, fully funded. So schools and colleges can draw down central government funding to teach this. Last year, there were 300 students studying this in 15 different centres. This year, Pearson have approved 160 different centres to teach the qualification. As of now, there are about 75 different centres actually physically delivering this, and about 1,800 students studying this across the whole of the UK. This is expanding, however, internationally. And Annabel, this is where I'd like to bring you in. Do you want to explain a little bit about what is happening globally around this qualification and about what Pearson are planning to do moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as Tom said, he's kind of outlined it very well. We've been doing a really good job in the UK looking at esports in education and really branching out into lots of colleges, and lots of students are coming on board now. And we're really pleased to say we're probably in around 6 or 7 new countries around the globe now, teachers coming to us and looking at this qualification and seeing the validity of it being fitting into their course structures already. As Tom mentioned, the BTEC qualifications are modular, and we've got different sizes. So you might have a shorter BTEC qualification that fits better into what is already in the institute, whether it's a college, school, or university, or the slightly larger diplomas, which will take a bit longer. But each and every one of them, as Tom said, covers different subject areas and different existing curriculum requirements. So what we're finding, and what I wanted to sort of talk about a little bit, is that there aren't esports teachers that have been teaching for years and years and years and years out in the world. And we really want to emphasize that Pearson has built this product with the British esports teams and various other experts. However, we really understand that teachers are coming to this new. And whether you're a business teacher, a sports teacher, or a creative media teacher, perhaps, we at Pearson will kind of, the way the BTEC qualification is structured, we go through the approvals with you. We go through how to teach it. We show you the curriculum. We show you how to internally assess some of the elements. So what this BTEC qualification did, and I think which is why it fitted so nicely with esports, is really give that opportunity for students to study a really fascinating subject area, but also go into some of the skills sets in the industry and outside the industry. As Gary said, we've got so many areas from marketing to business to sport to IT that are incorporated into this curriculum. And I think our global reach with BTEC is that we're focused on work-related qualifications. And this really is, when you look at the statistics and the figures for the industry growth, you can see in almost every country, more and more companies are working in the esports ecosystem. More and more interest is being generated from large tournaments. So what we want to make sure is that our BTEC qualifications are covering those areas. We are really at the early stages, and it's something we really want to promote and get out there, because we know that there's plenty of highly skilled teachers that could really teach us very well. I think we're in over about 50 countries for BTECs more globally, so every subject area, but it's about 6 or 7 at the moment with esports, and those, all of them have sort of looked at different sizes of those qualifications, which will fit into existing curriculum and existing courses that they have.
So
that as well,
the sizes.
Sorry, Tom.
Go on. No, go ahead.
I think Annabel made a great point about it being in the early stages. And as we know, Tom, last year we had 333 students, like you said. This year we've got 1,834, which is an increase of over 500%, which the numbers are just staggering. And I think, I guess we'll touch on this in a little bit, but it's the whole debate: is esports good for you? And the difference between esports and just video gaming is that human versus human competitive nature, where you're learning skills, you're playing with friends, you're communicating, you're letting your family and everybody else know what you're doing, what it's about. You can get them involved. It's a whole ecosystem that is thriving at the moment, and that's a very, very important thing to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this goes back to Annabel's point then about the support that teachers can get through doing this, because this is one of the things that we, not a hurdle, but it's one of the main issues that we have essentially, is teachers saying, well, how do I teach this? I'm not, they know more than I do, which is a big thing for teachers to say, essentially, or admit to, is that they're not the experts. For years, teachers have been used to, and I say that myself as a teacher, standing up in front of a class, listen to me because I know more than you do, and I'm going to give you that information. Actually, that's not the same for esports. Okay, those young people will have a lot more detailed knowledge of teams, of games than we do. However, we are the facilitators. We are the adults. We are teaching them skills. We're not necessarily teaching them all the knowledge, because we are helping them to build on that knowledge that they've got. And this is where Pearson come in. This is where British Esports are coming in with the resources that we're developing. So there's the training courses that Pearson run. There's quality assurance that comes as part of this process that Pearson will be involved in to quality assure the work that your centre and the work that your students are doing. There's the training courses. Then we are developing digital resources, digital teaching resources to go with this as well, that will be available in the next few months. So there's a whole range of different support for the teachers, for the schools themselves. As Annabel was saying, the different sizes of qualification, the units, there's each unit, so there's 20 units in the whole qualification. Okay, each one of those units is between 60 and 120 guided learning hours. However, the qualification doesn't need to take in those full 20 units. You can pick and choose. Essentially, there are different size qualifications, sort of minimum, like elective size. We know electives are between 45 and 60 hours normally, which essentially is one of the units that we've written. So there's a whole range of different opportunities to bring these qualifications into your setting, into your school, depending on what you would like to do. Flipping back to Gary's point about the wider stakeholder engagement, there's a lot of work that we have done with Pearson around helping to give parents or teachers, parents, carers, senior decision makers in education. So, you know, your head teachers, your governors, the local administration boards. We've got lots of information around helping them to understand what esports actually is and the benefits of doing it, and also talking about balance, moderation, and a healthy, balanced lifestyle. That's critically important for people to understand, that this isn't young people on their own in their bedroom late at night playing against a computer, eating fast food. Those are the stereotypical misconceptions that people have around this. That is absolutely not the case. It's teams of people playing against other teams of people in a classroom environment, learning skills, learning knowledge that's going to help them get a career in the esports industry, in the wider video game industry, in the wider digital tech, creative STEM industries around the world.
And
Gary,
Tom, just to add to that.
Go on, Annabel, please do.
Yeah, sorry. Just to say, yeah, I think we often focus in on the skills and the real kind of the elements of the subject area that we're covering, but actually some of the softer skills Pearson's been really addressing with our BTEC qualifications more generally, and education more generally. Our real focus is some of the skills that employers are really seeking out from the next generation coming through, and actually there's been quite a lot of work skills gaps that we're identifying, and this esports qualification is addressing those, whether we're talking about leadership skills, teamwork, social and communication skills, decision making. These are the sorts of skills that might not be very clear in the sort of as you're teaching it, but actually they're coming out more and more and are vital to getting into jobs and vital to the employers that we speak to as educational companies. So the perceptual and sort of cognitive skills as well. There's all sorts of skills that are wrapped up within this esports BTEC.
Absolutely, and that it is going back to what Gary and I said at the start in terms of it being the vehicle. It is the modern, relevant incredibly engaging vehicle to hook and motivate young people in to help them develop all these skills. Yes, it's using esports, which is the big thing that they're into, that they love, that they're passionate about, but then it develops the different skills, the different knowledge, in the same way that traditional sport does, or music does, or drama does for certain types of young people. Esports does that for a whole wider range, a wider demographic of young people, and especially linked to all things STEM, all things digital, all things creative. And once educators can see that, once they get past the point of seeing it as being video gaming, once you see beyond that, then you start seeing all the opportunities that exist through this. Now, I'm conscious that we're coming towards the end of this session. What can people do to find out more information? Gary, do you want to sort of outline what resources are available and where people can find that?
Yes, of course. So our website, BritishEsportsAssociation.org, has a wealth of knowledge and information on there as well. Not just about the UK scene, but on the global scene as well. Both grassroots, semi-professional and professional news on there as well as heavily focus on education in our championships to show you how you can set up a club, start a course, get the BTEC in your school or college, teach, really just engage with your students on what esports is. I'll let Annabel handle the Pearson stuff because I'm pretty sure she knows it a little bit better than I do. But Pearson.com as well is I think it's .com. You can find, and I'm sure we'll post links out as well, but you can find all of our qualifications on there from the level 1 all the way to the level 3. And more importantly is the international level 3 BTEC in esports. And on them web pages, you have numerous links to resources like myself and Tom, Pearson, and the wider esports industry, which is an important thing I want to mention is we create this qualification with the industry. So the big teams that you see out there competing in the games like League of Legends, CSGO, Counter-Strike, Rocket League, we work with them on a daily basis. We're in contact with them, and with this qualification, we work with them to develop these units. So the units developed by industry for industry, and it's incredible the way we were able to do that. And I digress, I go back to the Pearson website. There's many links on there as well to show you where you need to go, how you can sign up, and the transferable skills, and the different software and hardware you can use. So the resources we have are abundant at the moment, and we're only creating more and more. Annabel, do you want to jump in on the Pearson bit of it?
Yeah, and Annabel, do you want to mention about how Pearson are based in different countries, though? The fact that Pearson have representatives in however many different countries around the world, and how people can get in touch with them, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. So Pearson, if you haven't heard, is a highly global organization. So we have offices and representatives across most countries. And when it comes to the BTEC qualification, if anyone on this wants to contact us, we will guide you through the process. We will talk to you about the ins and outs of how to set yourself up as a centre, what you need to have, what you need from us, what we need from you. So all of that is very much taken care of. We hold your hands through that. And that's a combination of our amazing regional teams, our colleagues across the world, as well as centrally in London. So myself and my team in London will do a lot of work with you to make sure that we get you through that process, get your centre approved to teach it, your teachers feel comfortable. We are very much about holding your hand through that and making sure that that BTEC qualification is really easy for you to teach. But yeah, we've got centres across the world that will do a lot of work with you if you need a local representative to speak to you about the qualification and the BTEC qualification more generally, how it fits into what you're teaching already.
Fantastic. Well, at the end of this presentation, there will be a slide come up that has the various different websites on it, our email addresses. Please connect with us via LinkedIn, via social media, BritishEsports.org, and connect with us via there. And we are very happy. We spend a lot of our time, Gary, Annabel, and I, speaking to teachers around the world. So drop us an email. Please do get in touch, and we're more than happy to jump on a call with you at any point to dive deeper into all this, to really show you what's happening here in the UK, because it really is a growing movement here in the UK linked to this qualification, that we know the passion is there in other parts, certainly the competitive side of esports is a lot bigger in other parts of the world than here in the UK, especially in Southeast Asia. However, the academic side of esports, the academic programming, we know isn't as developed yet, and we are very happy to help you do that and to help that shape that in different countries moving forward. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for your time. Please do reach out, and we look forward to connecting with you in the future. Thank you.